Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhamat Pranam, all the Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to our Wednesday morning Bhagavad Gita class. How are you doing today? You can unmute yourself and let me know.
Transcendental.
Transcendental. Awesome. All right. That's good. Anybody else wants to share how they are feeling today?
Blissful.
Blissful. All right. Good. Blissful. And those of you who are watching us on Facebook, which includes Dilip Bhai Patel Prabhu, Rajiv Bansal Prabhu, Vijay Lakshmi Nair Mataji, Preeti Radhika Mataji, and Vidyavadu Devi Dasi and Neha Mataji. Thank you so much for joining and let us know how you are feeling today. All right. We get going.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, so should we get ready then? Sriyas Prabhu, you can give me the reading order later while we are going through the Sanskrit of the Vigyapati Panchika prayers. And if somebody can confirm that they're able to see it, then we'll get going.
Yes, Mataji, we are able to view.
All right, okay. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Matsamo nasti papatma naparadhi cha kaschana parihare pilajame kim bhuve purushottama yuvati nam yatha yuni yunam cha yuvato yatha manobhi ramate tadvan mano me ramatam tvai bhumau skalita padanam bhumirevavalambanam Tvai jata paradhanam Tvameva sharanam prabhu Govinda vallabhe radhe Prarthaye tvamaham sada Tadiyam iti janatu Govindo mam tvaya saha Radhe vrindavanadhishe Karunamrituvahini Kripaya nijapadabja Dasyam mahyam pradiyatam. Okay, C.S. Prabhu, can you give us the reading order for the
Yes,
Mataji?
Mataji. Ishwari Radhika Mataji, Varshana Mataji, Sutapa Mataji, Garima Mataji, Manasi, Suyash, Shraddha Mataji.
All right. Okay. So who goes in now?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I will go. O Purushottama, no sinner or offender is as bad as I am. How can I describe my shame? Just as the minds of young ladies take pleasure in a young man, and the minds of young men take pleasure in a young woman. Kindly let my mind take pleasure in you alone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Just as the ground is the only support for those whose feet have slipped, you alone are the only shelter for those who have offended you. Hare Krishna.
O Srimati Radharani, beloved of Lord Govinda, this is my request. May you and Lord Govinda consider me one of your assistants. Hare Krishna.
O Srimati Radharani, O Queen of Vrindavan, you are a river flowing with the nectar of mercy. Please be kind to me and give me a little service at your feet, lotus feet.
Hare Krishna. Okay, it's reflection time.
Please be kind to me.
Please be kind to me. If she's not kind to you, what else can she do? Other options with Radharani.
I don't know.
Chastise us for betterment,
She can chastise you, right? She can punish you
for better.
for better. Yeah. Yeah. So you see, and we are reading about punishment. In which class are we reading about punishment?
Bhagavatam Mataji,
Bhagavatam. Yes, Tapa Mataji. And what punishment are we talking about there?
Ashwatthama killed Pandava's son, so he was been punished. So that's we were talking about.
Yeah. So was he punished or not? Yeah. So we are still talking about that. Arjuna has taken him captive and tied him with a rope like an animal. And then now the deliberations are starting whether he should kill or whether he should not kill. And in the next few verses, we'll talk about that. But one of the things to keep in mind is that, like you said, like Shyati Mataji emphasized and said that chastisement is for the betterment, right? And in the process of chastising for the betterment, you chastise so much the person dies itself, then that doesn't make any sense, right? So we have to be careful. And our Shastras tell us, have a lot of, injunctions on, who you should punish, how much you should punish, and things like that. Yeah, nowadays the justice system is not as good, but nevertheless, yeah, good. What else?
Kameva Sharanam Prabhu.
Sharanam Prabhu. Very
Yes,
good.
because without his mercy, we have nothing. Means Mataji is, I'm feeling day by day that without him, it's nothing is there. Means you cannot do nothing. You cannot move. You cannot. And as Kathy Mataji told that chastisement or punishment is for betterment. That is also I'm feeling.
Yeah, actually, it chases the whole equation, right? I mean, especially when it comes to chastisement, your spiritual master can chastise you on something, right? And then you can take it in two ways, right? You can take it as it was for my betterment. He said that. And why would anybody think about somebody else's betterment unless they have a very good relationship with them, right? They have very good feelings for them. That's why we want to better them. Otherwise, we don't care, right? So if somebody is going out of the way and telling you about the rights and the wrongs, this means that they have a special corner for you in the heart. And and on the top of it, it might not appear because you might not feel it like that because of the false ego. I am something, and how dare you tell me what to do, right? And this is our mood. This is our mood. That's why we fell down.
Yes, Mataji, in the childhood, when we used to go to school, that time teachers scolded us, and sometimes they did something, they punished, but that time we were so angry. Why she told me like this, why she talked to me. Now we understood that it is coming from love or the care
Yeah,
they had towards us.
yeah, yeah. And this is how the mind is, that when you get chastised for something wrong that you did, the mind is not going to accept it. That I did something wrong. And then what happens is that, okay, you told me this is wrong. Let me go to that person and verify. Then you go and confidentially start saying, yeah, this happened. That person did said this to me, and is it right or not? And guess what? The other person you went to also says, yeah, you got chastised for the right reason. And you don't like it. So you go to the third person. You go to the fourth person. We can go to fifth person, sixth person. And our search is going to end when we find somebody who agrees with us. And then we feel good like that, right? And that is why we have cheating religions that come up, right? Prabhupada says 4 regulative principles. It's like, oh, I can't do that. Let's go and find somebody who says it's okay to break the four regulative principles. And you say, wow, yeah, they're also famous. They're also gurus. Yeah. Like that. So yes. So we are saying Radhe
But
Vrindavan.
unless we realize it is for our betterment and work accordingly, our problems are never solved.
Never going to be solved. Exactly. Exactly. So that paradigm shift has to happen. And your life will change. Your life will change. For example, disciples, they look forward to the spiritual master chastising them because it shows a special relationship there. That like that. And and that willingness has got to be there to change, and the perspective, the moment the perspective changes that such and such a person scolds me because of their love for me, then whenever that incident occurs, like you get chastised, then you don't feel bad. Actually, you'll feel good about it, right? That today I got special mercy, like that. But the false ego is there. So it's all about the attitude. It's all about an attitude. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji. Uh, like you said, Radhe Vrindavanadishe Karunamrat Vahini, and you said that if suppose the Karuna is not there and the mother chastises you, I really remember my childhood when mother used to, you see, chastise, but it was for the betterment. And look here, Mataji, I mean, since then, you see, you will not do that thing for what she chastised you. So, I mean, this is for our betterment. That is why somebody chastises you. And rightly said, you said that unless somebody loves you, nobody will chastise you. Absolutely true, Mataji. That it comes out of love.
Yeah.
When yeah, very nice, Mataji. I really liked the sentence of yours.
All right. Good. What else are your thoughts today?
And in regarding this Mataji, I would like to thank Varsha Mataji because she used to tell me, don't do this, don't read like this, read like this. So it was like nearly 2 years I was reading with her, and it was you first and then Varsha Mataji came. So just because of two, I am here. At least I can pronounce the Sanskrit and read the verses. So thanks from core of my heart, both of you. Thank you so very much, Mataji. Means I have no words to explain that.
Vaishali Mataji can chastise. I can never believe that.
No, it's not like way. नहीं बेटा ऐसे नहीं पढ़ते ऐसे पढ़ो means
Yeah.
it is not like that,
Yeah.
but it was very soft tone,
I
soft
think
note.
the way Radharani will also say, right? I don't think so Radharani can be like Kali Mata. So that is true for Varshana Mataji also.
There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah. I remember there was a song when I was young, when I was little, and they used to say, "Phoolon ki maar padti thi," and I just couldn't understand, like, what is the meaning of you're beaten with flowers.
We say that to Dhriti when she goes for karate class. Her teacher said you punch, and she's like,
That's the thing. Yeah, she's very soft and sweet. Yeah.
yeah. So it's like the nature of the person, right? So
Dhiti is pure
Mataji,
mode of goodness. She's in pure mode of goodness. I learned so much from Dhiti, like, how she stays so calm and quiet.
yeah.
Dhiti, how
I
old is Dhiti? 10, 12 years?
She's now 10. Yeah. I asked her, how are you doing? She said, I'm good. I was like, why are you so good? Krishna ने मुझे ऐसे ही बनाया.
Krishna made me like that. Wow. Yes. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare-
Can I say something?
Yeah, sure.
When I got retired in 2009 from my job, so children, they had performed they have for farewell program was there, and one child did the mimicry for me कि वर्षा मिस कैसे डांटती हैं बेटा, ये भी कोई तरीका है करने का. I remember their words.
Very nice. Yeah, they notice. The kids figure out which teacher is the soft one. Very nice. So I've got some reflections here. Vidyavadu says that she's feeling good. That is good. I want you to feel good. And as part of the reflections, Manome ramatam tvai. Yeah, manome ramatam tvai. Where else does the mind go? Hundreds of places, right? Manorathena sthit dhavato bahi. We sit on the chariot of the mind and we go all over the places so fast, isn't it? Right? Have you heard of the Eiffel Towers in France? Raise your hands if you did. There you go. Your mind just went to France. This is how quickly. All right. Govinda Vallabhe Radhe Prarthaye Tam Aham Sada. Yes. That is Achita Radhe Mataji saying that to us. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams to all of you. Okay. More reflections. Any more reflections here?
Karunamrit Vahini.
Karunamrita Vahini, right? That's what we are relying on today. Yeah, that she will have Karuna on me despite of nice resume that I have, right? Yeah, what are we going to put on our resume?
Sorry, Mataji.
Go ahead, Ishwari Radha.
Kindly let my mind take pleasure in you alone. There's so many things that we take pleasure in day out. And again, we're reminded, take pleasure in me alone.
Yeah, like what can we take pleasure in?
Oh,
Food, maybe?
Yeah, simple thing like food or wearing nice sari or dressing up, which which nowadays we don't because it much.
Yeah, what about sleeping?
Yeah, sleeping.
Yeah, talking. Yeah.
Even thinking,
Talking
right?
also we can take pleasure, Mataji, with some good people if we talk. So that is also some kind of pleasure.
Yes, matchitta madgata prana bodhayantas parasparam kathayantas cha mam nityam tushyanti, it's satisfied and they're happy. Ramanti cha, they get engaged, totally engaged in that, discussing pastimes of Krishna, right?
Even thinking, right? No one, if someone disturbs my like thinking that I'm thinking, then it's disturbance for
You
us.
don't like it. Yes, you don't like it. And actually, that is the biggest enjoyment that you have. Right? You can always think and enjoy.
Thinking independently of Krishna.
Yeah.
Mataji, I have a neighbor. She is American and 69 years old lady. So recent days means sometimes she wants to go take a walk with me, and while we were walking, sometimes I tell her that I take spiritual classes like this. It should go like this. It happens, Krishna, and she listens. So that is also some kind of pleasure. Yeah, sometimes there are so many people who doesn't want to listen. They argue, but she is a different country, different culture, but still she listens. So that is also some kind of pleasure what I have found.
And pleasure for whom?
Mine.
Well, yeah, but maybe she's also having some pleasure because otherwise she won't listen, right? Subtle, it is there.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Well, here there is a verse of let me just bring up that verse here for you all. And it's a fantastic verse from Bhagavad Gita in the 13th chapter. And I'm going to start sharing that with you. And am I sharing my whole screen? No. Okay. To share my desktop. Can you please confirm you can see a Bhagavad Gita verse that has gone there? And whose turn is it to read?
Mine, Mataji.
It's turn for you to read. Okay, your turn. Let me just look up at the previous verse also and see whether we should address that previous verse also. 25 and
Sanskrit or just
yeah,
translation?
we'll do the whole. Yeah. Just read the read the whole thing. Yeah, I mean, like, starting with the Sanskrit.
Okay. ध्यानेन आत्मनि पश्यन्ति केचित् आत्मानम् आत्मना अन्ये संख्येन योगेन कर्मयोगेन च परे
Okay, translation. Who's next in line? Am I supposed to read? Okay.
No, After me, Neeral Prabhu.
Neeral, come on. Is Neeral there?
Oh, sorry, Mataji Neeral Prabhu is not here, so I can read. I have to read the translation, right? Sorry.
Yeah, please.
Some perceive the super soul within themselves through meditation, others through cultivation of knowledge, and still others through working without fruitive desires.
Okay. Now we'll go to the next one. Okay, so they are saying that how people can perceive the super soul, how you can find God through these various means, right? Meditation, knowledge, and working without fruitive results. So nishkam karma, right? Dhyana and jnana, right? That's what they're saying. That chapter 13 is telling you that you can find God. Now let's look at this one. Okay, whose turn is it now?
It's my turn.
Okay, go ahead.
अन्येते एवम् अजानन्ता श्रुत्वा येभ्यः उपस्ते तेऽपि चातिरत्यत्येव मृत्युश्रुतिपरायणा.
Parayanaha. Okay, next person can do the translation.
Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death.
What do you say?
Yes, Mataji, I have seen this in the villages, like the village from where my husband belongs to. I've seen a lot of people there. They follow Krishna, and one of the gurus, just by hearing from others, they are not reading the scriptures, but they are still Krishna bhaktas, just by hearing that the Krishna katha from others.
Yeah. So let's take the case, and I don't want to put Sutapa on the spot, but let's take this case of the lady with whom Sutapa Mataji is taking walks and she's explaining. Is that lady hearing from authorities? Think about it. Okay, I knew Sutapa will say no, but I'm asking other.
Because I'm very small person, means I don't have that kind of knowledge.
Right. So you are saying I'm not authority, but let's look at other points of view.
I think she's in authority,
Yes,
because she has
in authority.
the right discipline succession.
There you go.
Yes. Can I say something, Mataji? Because you heard from Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj heard from his own Guru, and she is listening from her Shiksha Guru, that is you. So she comes in the lineage, Mataji. So she is authority. She has what she says. She has the authority.
Yeah. So what are responsibilities of Sutapa?
To deliver the message as
to
deliver the message.
Shastra, to go according to the Shastra, what it says. So that will be.
Yeah, to deliver the message as it is, right? So sometimes what will happen is, as we are in the conversations, we find, and then the lady turns and asks a question and we don't know the answer to that. So we can make up an answer. After all, it's our false ego at stake, right? And we have among the 4 defects, we have a tendency to cheat, right? So if we have a tendency to cheat, then we will give the wrong answer without thinking that what a damaging effect it can have on the other person, right? Here was a person who was eager to hear from authorities. So, so that's the only thing, that you have to retain it as it is. And if there are some deviation going on in your mind, some doubts, some questions are there, you can come back. You can openly tell them actually that, on this point, I'm not very clear about it. Let me consult and come back. And that actually is better for the person who's also hearing you, because then they will have faith that whatever this person is telling me is the truth. And if they don't know the truth, they go and verify from the source, and then they come back and tell me the truth like that. So I'm getting the right knowledge like that. So Sutapa, this is how it happens. It has a tendency to hear, right? That lady, and it'll happen. It could happen in this life, could happen in another life. But neha vikamo nasusti, whatever little devotional service that you do, and the devotional service that she's doing right now is shunvatam, right? There are 9 ways in which you can do devotional service. So she's doing the shunvatam part of it. She's just hearing. She might not go and do archanam, vandanam, pada sevanam. She might not do, right? Or maybe she will in the future, who knows? But In general, she might not do it, but she's doing Shravanam, which is the most important thing because the ear is the most powerful organ. And whatever you hear from the ears, it goes inside. And so she's positive about hearing, right? She is submissive to the hearing. She hears to you. She's not, people can just poo-poo and say, I don't want to hear that. Let's talk about something else. Let's change the topic, right? People generally tell you that, but she's listening. So that's good. Wow. Wow, fantastic. Yeah. So what else? What else are your thoughts? Okay. Are you running out of thoughts? Then we'll give you some more fodder to think. Okay, so we have the other verse also that we're doing these days. This talks about surrender. Okay. Okay, whose turn is it to read?
I guess mine. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Divyangi.
Sanskrit.
Yes, please.
Sakrit eva prapano yas tavasmi teacher yachate abhayam sar tasmai dadam yetat vratam mamam.
Yes. Okay, who's going to give us the word by word? After
Your turn, Mataji.
I go there. Okay, Sakrit. Sakrit is only once. Only once. So Sakrit Eva is certainly. Prapannaha is surrendered. Yaha, anyone who. Tava, yours. Asmi, I am. Iti, does. Cha, also. Yachate, prayers. Abhayam, fearlessness. Sarvada, always. Tasmai, unto him. Dadami, I give. Etad, this. Vratam, vow. Mama, my. So what is the Sanskrit for only once?
Sakrit.
Sakrit, yeah, Sakrit. Sakrit, all right. And what is the Sanskrit for fearlessness?
Abhyam.
And what is the Sanskrit for Prapanna?
Surrendered.
Prapanna is Sanskrit.
Sanskrit. There you go. What is the Sanskrit for Prapanna? Prapanna. Okay, what is the meaning of giving?
Dadami.
Very good. And what is prayer? Praying, praise, praying.
Yachate.
Yachate. Okay. Yachate means to pray. And what is the translation? Who's going to give us the translation for that?
I will, Mataji.
All right.
It is my vow that if one only once seriously surrenders unto me, saying, my dear Lord, from this day I am yours, and prays to me for courage, I shall immediately award courage to that person, and he will always remain safe from that time on.
There you go. Haribol. Okay. Reflection on this nice words. Any thoughts on that?
Only once if someone, says, I surrender, Tawasami, then he takes care of you. Just once. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Courage is really, sorry, Mataji, go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying just once. Yeah.
Courage is really important, right? He's not saying I will give mercy or I will give anything else, but he says courage, because if we have courage, then we'll be able to understand the real or walk on that path, right? Because the first thing that comes is miserly weakness, and the counter weapon is Krishna is giving courage. So
Right. And for Maya to handle Maya, it requires a lot of courage, right? Because courage helps you handle things in the proper manner, right? If you don't have the courage, then your actions will be different. When you have the courage.
Mataji, somewhere the word courage, the fear is underlined, right? The fear is there. So that's why we are asking for the courage.
Yes.
I don't know whether I'm...
Yes, there is big fear. Yes, there is big fear.
Yeah, big fear. Mataji, I'm trying to say this line but there is a fear because I'm really worried. What if when I say Krishna, I am all yours and he gives me the trouble like Kunti Devi? So I'm not ready for that. And that's why I need courage. Otherwise, I can't say this line with my full heart.
Yes, these are big.
Back of my mind when I'm speaking this line, I am thinking, oh my God, am I ready?
Yeah.
So I need courage.
Exactly, right? And so why does fear arise? There's a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm bringing it up on a screen near you. Tell me, did it arrive on a screen near you?
Yes, we can see it, Mataji.
Okay, you can see that now. Okay, somebody can read it.
Varshana Mataji's turn to read.
There you go, Vashana.
भयं द्वैत्य अभिनिवेशतः दिशा स्याद् ईशादपेतस्य विपर्ययो स्मृतिः तन्माययातो बुद्ध आभजेतं जेततं भक्तैकैशं गुरुदेवत आत्मा.
Okay, let's look at the translation.
Fear arises when a living entity misidentifies himself as the material body because of absorptions in the external illusory energy of the Lord. When the living entity thus turns away from the Supreme Lord, he also forgets his own constitutional position as a servant of the Lord. This bewildering, fearful condition is affected by the potency for illusion called Maya. Therefore, an intelligent person should engage unflinchingly in the unalloyed devotional service of the Lord under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, whom he should accept as his worshipable deity and his very life and soul.
There you go. There you go. So what is the reason for fear? Why does fear come?
We are the body.
Yeah. Then you identify yourself as the
And we are the clutches of the Maya, Mataji.
Yeah. And because even in Maya controls the real aspect, right? Yeah.
Yes, Mataji, misidentification of our own. So that is why we identify ourselves with the body, and that is why we are fearful.
Yeah. So you know how from childhood we see about identity, right? What is the first identity that you
Name.
You have a name, right? Okay. After that, what other IDs do you have?
My degree or like
Okay.
or like
I'm a
my
doctor.
nationality. Yeah,
Okay.
nationality also.
Yeah, nationality.
Family that you're born in.
Family that you're born in. I'm a son of this, daughter of this. Okay.
My achievements.
Yeah, achievements. Yeah.
Possessions.
Mm-hmm.
My beauty, external.
Well, yeah, that is true.
Means if I am beautiful,
That's
and that is also includes the body.
Yeah.
My belief system also, right? What I chose to believe in is something that I want to protect going forward.
Yeah. What about identity cards? Did you ever come across identity cards in your life?
Yeah, they say ex-manager or ex so-and-so.
Okay. So identity persists, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because we are so attached.
Mataji, your friends also sometimes are your identity, because the friends you are identified, the friends you choose. This has always been taught.
Yes.
And so they are.
Yeah, that's why people sometimes will do name dropping, right? Oh, I was having dinner with such and such a person last night. Yeah, and if I'm that person's friend, which means I'm that person's friend, some big shot, right? Like that. Okay. Like I went to the Himalayas and met Vyasdeva. How about that?
That's very good.
Yeah. So there is identity, right? And that is verifiable. And people verify it, right? So if you have an identity card, like you have a passport, right? These are all objects that help you identify. So when you try to enter into another country, the people in the immigration are sitting there, right? And they'll have cameras. You'll give them the paper, and what do? Look at the paper, look at you. Look at the paper, look at you, right? Sometimes there's a little difference, hairstyle is different, or didn't have glasses, or you aged, or whatever, right? And they will do a lot of this, right? To check and see whether you are right or not. And so obviously, if they make a mistake there, the wrong person can get in. So we try not to misidentify in our whole life, right? Whose car is it? This is my car. How do you know? I have the license plate. right? Like that, everything. I mean, you know how, I mean, in my time, it always used to happen that we used to have steel plates. And whenever I purchased a steel plate, I would ask I would ask the shopkeeper to, etch my name over there, because it helped, because we used to do a lot of exchange of food with neighbors and things like that. And guess what? Everybody goes to the same shop to purchase the plates. So all plates look alike. So how do you distinguish between my plate and their plate? So you will put your name on there, like that. So this process of identifying always goes on, and if the identity is wrong, then we are in a soup. So now imagine this huge mistake that we have in our own identity, right? We take such good care of having a name, and then from the name, how do I identify who this person is? So you have a last name, and in some parts of the country, some parts of the world, it's not just the last name which belongs to the father. Then you'll also have grandfather's name. You will also have the village name, and if you were born under a tamarind tree, they will include all that, so that there is no mistake in identifying who you are, right? Similarly, when there are yagyas that are going on, right? When the yagyas, the priest comes and says, how does he identify you? Such and such a person from such a goat. On this day, we are sitting on the bhumi of Delhi, in Bharatvarsha, in the Jambu Dvipa. Complete identification is going on there, right? Narrow down to the right thing. But look at the bigger thing. The bigger problem that we have is that our own identity we don't know. And because of that, fear arises. Fear arises because we think we are the material body. So isn't that the biggest misidentification, which Krishna is trying to solve for Arjuna, right? In our Bhagavad Gita. So fear arises from there. So back again to our verse where we were saying courage, and Sutapa, thank you for bringing that up, because a courage require, if you're mentioning courage, this means that there is some scope of fear somewhere, and this is the reason where the fear arises. And even if it does because of some misconceptions that we have, if somehow or the other we learn how to surrender to the Lord, then he's saying that even if you just surrender to me once, then I will take care of you, right? And then how does surrender mean? There is this one that I brought up just now. Can you see that? Black and white. Do you see something black and white? All right. So this is actually coming from the Shikshastakam, which is one of the prayers that we should do in detail in one of the upcoming days. But here it is saying, Ashlishya vapadaratam pinashtumam adarshanam marmahatam karotu va yatha tatha cha vidadhato lampato mat prananathas tusa eva na paraha. And so who's in next in line can read the translation.
I think Sutapa Mataji's turn to read.
No, Mataji, I have read the translation.
Yeah,
So
Okay,
it's Garima
then
Mataji's turn.
Mataji, ninth one.
Eight.
I know no one but Krishna is my Lord. I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he shall remain. So even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken heart by not being present before me, he is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipable Lord, unconditionally.
Right.
Krishna.
So you see, that is what surrender is. Surrender is a big thing. Surrender is a big thing. Requires a lot of faith there. Okay. But it'll come. I mean, we are surrendering in small ways. Can you give me some examples of how you are surrendering to Krishna in your daily life? Surrendering to the will of Krishna. Get up, like
Yes,
start from getting up in the morning.
Yeah.
How are you surrendered to Krishna by the act of getting up in the morning?
Getting up in Brahma Muhurt time and
Yeah,
chanting your rounds.
yeah. Okay, then.
Mataji, early in the morning when we get up, I always pray that, oh God, give me the strength that I chant your holy name properly without committing any mistakes.
Okay.
So
And how do you convert that into an actionable, right? So this is something that you prayed, right? But what do you do in your life, in your day, that's supports that statement? I mean, there was a prayer that we said, but we have to do something on our own, right? So
So
you,
Mataji, when I'm offering prasadam and when I'm cooking, I surrender because I don't know if the salt is good and if the taste is good. And when I'm cutting mangoes we got, and when I cut mango, I tell Krishna that I hope that I surrender unto you, and I pray that this mango tastes good to you. So I'm just leaving it to, because I can't do anything. I tried what I could, and then I surrender and offer prasadam in
okay.
that mood that I make mistakes. And
Yeah. So surrender is in that I'm not, yeah, I'm focused on the results, but I know the results are not in my hand because, yeah, I can't taste the mango because when you offer bhoga to the Lord, then you don't taste the bhoga, right? And after the Lord tastes it, then it becomes prasadam, and then we honor the prasadam. And while we honor the prasadam, we're like, oops, there was no salt. Poor Krishna, right? And at that time, a soul who is very much in, love with Krishna will not try to adjust the prasadam, will not say, okay, let me add salt to it, because they'll just say, I gave this to Krishna to eat and he ate it. How come I can't eat it? So they will eat it, right? But then in general for prasadam in bigger groups where there are a variety of people who are coming, they tell you that if you found that there is salt less, please adjust it. Please adjust it and give it to other people, because prasadam is the one that attracts. So a person comes to the temple for the first time. For example, Sutapa Mataji's, the lady whom she goes out in the walk, she comes and then, she comes to the temple and there's no salt in the lasagna. So you can imagine how bad it will be in eating. And she'll never want to come to the temple again. It's like, I don't know what kind of food they eat. So we do adjust it when it is for others. Others are going to honor the prasadam like that. Yes, but even before you offer the prasadam, like even before you offer the bhoga, there is some element of surrender there, right? What is that surrender that you do?
You have to offer some tulsi,
Okay, but how do you surrender? Why is that?
You're making it.
Yes, no, please go ahead, Mataji.
You're making it when you're preparing the bhoga, you're thinking about Krishna, that I hope that whatever I'm making, you please make it the way you like it.
Yeah. So I would put, so these are desires and hopes that this will happen. It's not necessarily surrender, right? The surrender will come a step before. Surrender would mean that there were choice this and that, and then you choose something. You surrender to the will of the Lord. So how does the Lord's will come into play when you're making bhoga?
Mataji, I don't know whether this is applicable, but some days in the morning when I get up, so I feel that I have to cook this today, or I will offer mango today, I will offer apple, or some other day I will offer orange. So that is the will that is coming from inside. So that has to do with Krishna's surrender. I am not sure.
Yeah. So what made you choose apple, and why didn't you make an omelette for Krishna?
Yeah, that's why it is
Should have
coming
that for
from
breakfast.
inside from Mataji. So that time I think maybe it's his desire today to taste that mango or taste. I think this way. I don't know.
Okay. And Varshana Mataji, were you trying to raise your hand?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay.
Mataji, I pray to Srimati Radharani that Ma, I do not know anything. Please help me to cook for Krishna.
Okay.
I'm offering this. Please accept it and offer it to Krishna. Please.
Yes.
That's what I do.
Yeah. So when you're surrendering to Krishna, it would be that, somehow something in your heart is saying that Krishna wants to eat mangoes, although you had planned to eat guavas maybe for breakfast. I don't know, something like that. And then you're doing the will of the Lord. So although you might think that, I should, eat some bread that I purchased from the shop, but then it's like, no, Krishna wants you to make your own food. That is the best way to go about it, unless, there are dire reasons that you have to do that. So surrender will be every time that you're doing, and every time that you're faced with some choices, you will take a choice which is in favor of Krishna. That is surrender to Krishna, right? Otherwise, if I'm making choices which are for me, like, okay, I want to eat onion pakoras today in the morning. So, who cares, right? I'll make them. Who cares? Okay, but you can't offer them to bhoga. Okay, who cares? let's not have bhoga. I'll give apples to Krishna. He can eat apples and I'll eat this, like that, right? So that is not surrender. The surrender is difficult. Right from when we surrender the nice, cushy, and warm bed in the morning, to get out of it to do devotional service to the Lord, it is difficult, right? And then, people who are very much into all this will always take a shower before cooking bhoga for Krishna. So you can go to any stringent methods, and any stringent levels of engaging in devotional service to Krishna. And there's always a surrender against and that is what is difficult. What is it that makes devotional service difficult? Is that I don't want to surrender. I don't want to do God's will. Devotional service means that we have to do God's will. And that is where the whole problem starts. Because the reason that we are here in this place is because we did not want to follow the God's will. So our consciousness is like that. But slowly, through practice, through devotee association, through learning from scriptures, you will get into that, right? Like nowadays, it comes very as a second nature for you that, I have to get up in the morning. If you don't get up in the morning, then you feel bad, right? As if you missed out something. Like, okay, I got up at 7 in the morning and it's like, oh, it's so late. And for some people, 7 in the morning is so early, right? The quiet hours remain till 8 o'clock in the morning. So like if you're living in a condo and things like that, where you can't make any noises. So till 8 o'clock in the morning, the people are sleeping. And for us, it's like, oh, they're already 4 hours late. I've already done my rounds. I've already done my Mangalati. I've already done this and that, right? So it's always about, surrender is always about giving up what you wanted to do, right? And instead doing what Krishna wants to do. And we see Arjuna get surrender, right? Arjuna does that surrender.
Mataji, may I say something? Mataji, when we offer bhoga to the Lord, keeping little bit of salt in the plate extra will be better. I feel that suppose it is less, Lord kindly accept it. And I always tell him when I pick up the plate from there, I say that you have eaten it. Thank you so much. It was such a simple this thing, but you accepted it. Very thankful to you, dear Lord.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, these are the things we have to constantly do and remind ourselves.
Patram push. And you said that why didn't you cook egg? You see, Mataji, Lord 26 verse of the 9th chapter, I think. Patram pushpam phulam toyam. So Lord doesn't accept anything else but only vegetarian food.
Right, and that is the surrender, you see, that I'm going to give up my base instincts of wanting to eat meat and eggs and so on and so forth, right? I'm going to give that up. Why? Because Krishna doesn't like it. It's not that your doctor said that, because you have a heart attack, now give up on high cholesterol items. It's not that. It is because Krishna doesn't want it. I'm hale and hearty, my heart is in a good condition, like that. But I will still give it up because Krishna doesn't like it. That is surrender. Or everybody else in the family is eating it, but I won't eat it. That is surrender. Krishna.
Mataji, one thing more. Suppose, like you say, we have to take medicine in the morning and the evening, both the times. We have to, first thing in the morning, I get up, I have to take a medication. So in that case, Mataji, medicine I'm not offering and having. So is that okay?
You can offer medicine to the Lord. Who says you can't offer medicine to the Lord? You can ask him to bless it. Yeah, you can ask him to bless your medicine.
I remember like Krishna is my healing herb and then take the medicine.
Yeah. Yep. Actually, in Ayurveda, you're supposed to pray to Vishnu before you take any medicines.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can ask them to bless it, right?
Thank you so much for telling this, for this information. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, Yash Prabhu, are you saying something?
Yeah, my grandma used to always offer it just like this and then eat.
Eat it, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, tasmat sarvesu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddhacha. So every time, when you're taking medicine, it's your fight against whatever is ailing you, the germs or whatever. And so tasmat sarvesu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddhacha. That at all times, you should just think about Krishna. Sarveshu kaleshu. So this is how you will think about him in small things, right? You're pulling your prasad plate from the altar and you're thanking Krishna for him, like that.
Mataji,
I want to share. Okay, go ahead.
Priyanka.
Okay. So sometimes we have leftovers from last night, and suppose we made like a big feast and we have everything, paneer and gulab jamun and everything else. In the morning, we're not cooking and we offer Krishna only fruit, and I just say, so I don't know Krishna what to do, but I mean Mataji, I mean what should be the mood, because we have leftovers, so we are going to eat gulab jamun and paneer, but we are giving you only fruit because we didn't cook. I sometimes feel, what am I doing the right thing, or what should we do?
What should you do, right? So remember, the rules in the home are much more relaxed than the rules in the temple. In the temple, Krishna lives like a king, and we worship him in the mood of Vishnu, like that. So all powerful, and so we will never skip. He has food at the exact time. Like if you have, those of you who have cooked at the temple, the head pujari will come at a particular time. He'll pick up the plate and go. You can't stop him and say, "Hey, wait 5 more minutes. I have this nice thing that I'm cooking." No, they won't wait, because food has to be given to Krishna at this particular time, and there are rules on, like 5 sabjis or 3 sabjis, some sweet, all that, they will have those rules there. But in the home, the rules are a little bit relaxed, like that, right? So if you're saying that I'm giving the fruit to Krishna, that's fine. He said, Patram pushpam phalam toyam ye me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti upaharitam ashnami prayat atmanaha. So what he says is that if somebody gives me a leaf, a flower, a water, a fruit, with love and devotion. So what really cares is the love and devotion, right? And we have that very famous situation where Krishna did not eat in the house of Duryodhan. Duryodhan was a prince, right? He could have had made a lavish feast for Krishna to eat. He did not eat there. Where did he go and eat? Vidura's place. And what did Vidura give him?
Banana. Peel.
Peels. There you go, right? Not banana, peels. And Krishna ate it because he was looking at the love there. So that's is what he's saying. It's all about love. It's all love there, right? So don't feel guilty if you're eating leftovers.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Varsana Mataji. Did we lose her? We lost it. Okay. All right. So I was looking at the watch and I was thinking maybe it's time for us to go to.
Mataji, one small thought can I share?
Yes, please.
Mataji, the other day means we keep every fruits means in the refrigerator. So the other day, suddenly it came to my mind that during the puja we just take out the food and offer. So that day I feel that it is so cold. So I should keep it outside for at least 2 or 3 hours, and then I should offer to Krishna. So and that thought, Mataji, I felt so good about it that it came to my mind.
Yes. So this is known as, slowly the relationship is building with Krishna. That you are thinking that that's a personality that's sitting there, the deity in your home is now becoming a personality, is now becoming a person, that you're thinking about these things, right? People can worship in awe and reverence and say like, so cold fruit, how does it matter to Krishna? Cold and heat don't affect him. People can do it like that, do worship like that. Or they can worship with love and affection. We're saying, no, Krishna, people who have Laddu Gopal, the small Krishna in their home, they give him food so many times in a day because they treat him really as a child, because the child eats every 2 hours or 3 hours like that. So they will make and they will give. So it's a relationship with the deity that you have. Yeah. So as you can see how finer thoughts are coming into your mind now, this is progress in devotional service. Yeah, the relationship is growing. Yeah. So yes, Prabhu, are you going to share?
Yes, Mataji, can you allow me to share?
Oh, I did not allow you to share. I thought I did that in the morning. I did not. Okay, here you go.
Okay, is it visible?
Yes. Who goes next? If you don't remember, we can start.
Garima Mataji read, right, last time, so it's mine.
Okay.
Chapter 2, Contents of the Gita summarized. Text 1. Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana, Krishna spoke the following words. Text 2. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets but to infamy.
O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading importance. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counteract with arrows? In battle, men like Bhishma and Drona who are worthy of my worship.
Text 5. It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of lives of great soul who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood. Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we killed the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live, yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield.
Text 7. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Text 8. I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven.
I can read text 9. Sanjaya said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. Text 10. O descendant of Bharata, at that time, Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to grief-stricken Arjuna.
Shraddha Mataji's turn. Divangi Mataji has left the call.
She has left the call? Okay. Text 11. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. Text 12. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any one of us cease to be.
Text 13. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Text 14. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O scion of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed.
Text 15. O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. Text 16. Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. Hare Krishna.
17. That which pervades the entire body you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. Text 18. The material body of indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore, fight, O descendant of Bharata. Hare Krishna.
Text 19. Neither he who thinks the living entity the slayer, nor he who thinks it slain is in knowledge. For the self says nor is slain. Text 20. For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain.
Text 21. O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones.
Text 23. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burnt by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. The individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble, and can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same.
It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. If, however, you think that the soul or the symptoms of life will always be born and die forever, you still have no reason to lament, O mighty armed.
Text 27. One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death, one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. Text 28. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So, what need is there for lamentation?
Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. Text 30. O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being.
Shraddha Mataji.
Priyanka is also not there. Isn't Priyanka supposed to read?
She read Mataji.
I read Mataji.
Yeah,
When-
Deepal Mataji and Shraddha Mataji and Priyanka Mataji have switched their places.
Switch their places.
After
That's
Deepal Mataji, it is yours.
Okay, I was focusing on hearing, Priyanka's voice. Okay, that's fine. 31. Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles. And so there is no need for hesitation. Text 32. O Partha, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets.
Text 33. If, however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties, and thus lose your reputation as a fighter. Text 34. People will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death.
Text 35. The great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you insignificant. Text 36. Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you? Hare Krishna.
Text 37. O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight. Text 34. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing you shall never incur sin. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Okay. What's the verse for today, C.S. Prabhu? All right. Whose turn is it?
My Mataji. Vedavan vinashinam nityam ya inam ajam avyayam katham sa purusha partha kam gatheti hantikam.
All right. Very good.
Synonyms. Veda, knows. Avinashinam, indestructible. Nityam, always existing. Yaha, one who. Inam, this soul. Ajam, unborn, Avyayam, immutable, Katham, how, Saha, that, Purushaha, person, Partha, O Partha, Arjuna, Kam, come, whom, uh, Ghat, Ghatyati,
Ghatayati.
Ghatayati, causes to hurt, Hanti, kills, Kam, whom. This is come or calm?
Come.
Come.
Translation. O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill?
Purpose. Everything has its proper utility, and a man who is situated in complete knowledge knows how and where to apply a thing for its proper utility. Similarly, violence also has its utility, and how to apply violence rests within the person in knowledge. Although the justice of the peace always awards capital punishment to a person condemned for murder, the justice of the peace cannot be blamed because he orders violence to another person according to the courts of justice. Next person can read.
Well, Mataji, you can read. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that I messed up the order.
It's okay, don't worry about it.
Okay, are you going to read?
Yes, I can read.
Okay.
In Manu Samhita, the law book for mankind, it is supported that a murderer should be condemned to death so that in his next life he would not have to suffer for the great sin he has committed. Therefore, the king's punishment of hanging a murderer is actually beneficial. Similarly, when Krishna orders fighting, it must be concluded that violence is for supreme justice, and thus Arjuna should follow the instructions, knowing well that such violence committed in the act of fighting for Krishna is not violence at all, because at any rate the man, or rather the soul, cannot be killed. So for the administration of justice, so-called violence is permitted. A surgical operation is not meant to kill the patient, but to cure him. Therefore, the fighting to be executed by Arjuna at all the instruction of Krishna is with full knowledge, so there is no possibility of sinful reaction.
Haribol. Okay, let's take the reflections. You can stop sharing. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Violence, like you say, it was mentioned in the purport that since Krishna himself said to fight for the right cause, so it is not violence. Like in the war also, otherwise here, I mean, in the army, when the commander tells the soldiers to fight, and they are eligible to kill, and then they can kill. So that is also not violence. This kind of violence is permitted in the Shastras also.
Okay, good.
Violence has its utility.
And what does it say? He actually said, everything has its utility, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything has its proper utility, and a man who is situated in complete knowledge knows how.
Yeah. Yeah. So you remember we were doing in the Bhakti Vriksha class, we talked a month or so, 2 months or so ago about the enemies of the mind. We listed 6 enemies of the mind, right? And they can also be properly utilized. You remember that? What do you think are the enemies of your mind? Which will make your mind think of, thoughts that should not be thought of.
The senses, Mataji, the eyes, tongue.
Oh, like the enemy? I was looking for a more abstract thing, and actually, the eyes, yeah. Well, in some ways, you can say that they are the enemies of each other. Yeah.
Because when I see something, then the mind wants, like, it kind of pushes us to get that, and it starts its work of imagining things. And
Yes. So that's a very interesting point that you bring in, which is basically saying that um, that the eyes go and capture and gather the information. And because eyes went and gathered information about all these things that I was not supposed to look at, now as I am the mind, and now I'm forced to, think about these things, right? Actually, it is the other way around. It is the soul that has got desires. And because the soul has got desires, which is a thought, so there's mind which is involved there. And so the mind will be giving directions to the senses. The mind gives directions to the senses that, hey, can you look for a gulab jamun? So that's what we will do. We are in the marketplace. We'll be looking for, is there a halwai shop somewhere? And are they selling gulab jamun? So the eyes are actually under the control of the mind. So that's the hierarchy. The lowest is the dull matter, gulab jamun. Above that are the senses, eyes in this case. Above the senses is the mind. So it actually is the mind that controls it. And then these senses are actually actively looking for it. So they are known as Jnanendriyas. They are actively trying to collect information. It's not just that a form is there in the room and your eyes will see it. The eyes will not see a gulab jamun unless you are craving for it. We might not experience that, or we might not know where actually this is coming from, and my eyes are always going there, but the eyes are being directed by the mind to do like that. And so it's almost like how Vaishak Babu once said that it's like how you have a cell phone and the cell phone goes into the searching mode, right? You go to another place, it's always searching for a network. Where is the network? Where is the network? Can I get connected to it? And if it doesn't find a network, after some time you realize that your battery has gone down, and you're like, why did the battery go down? I didn't even use it for anything. Well, behind the scenes, your cell phone was looking for active connections, a way to connect to some network close by. So similarly, in a similar way, our senses are also looking out for these things. It's not just a happenstance that it happens, right? Like if a person comes inside a room, the room is full of people of different ages. What a young man will see there will be different from what an older man will see there, right? It could be the same object they see, but they will perceive the object in a different way, right? A young man may see a beautiful woman and say, well, she's a good candidate to make my wife, right? And I should go out and reach to her and talk to her. An older man might just say, like, oh wow, she's a granddaughter, she's like my granddaughter, and I hope she stays nicely in Krishna consciousness. So the eyes are looking for this. If a person is looking for people to preach, then the older person will see, okay, here's a youngster that I can preach to. Another one might say, okay, here's a youngster I can go out on a date with, like that. It all comes from inside the head. Basically from the mind.
So the enemies of the mind, Mataji, the lust, anger, envy,
Yes.
illusion,
Yes.
attachment, and one I'm missing.
Pride. Did you include pride?
Yeah, pride.
Yeah.
Greed.
Delusion, greed. Yeah. Right. Lust, anger, greed. Arrogance, pride, like that. So all of them can be used. After this, when we study that everything has a utility. So 5 of them can be used in the service of the Lord. And the only thing that we said cannot be used in the service of the Lord is to be envious. So envy is something that you cannot use in the service of the Lord. But then I heard somebody, have a very different viewpoint and a very different way of putting it across, and that's fine. Krishna can do anything, right? So we are saying that don't use envy in the service of the Lord. Like, okay, I'm being envious to this person, and that is how I'm serving the Lord. It's not going to take you anywhere, because envy kills you, right? And on the other hand, you see that the envy that who was that Kekai had, right? Kekai had the envy of Ramchandra, that how can he sit on the throne when my own son should be equally eligible to sit on the throne because I am the favorite wife of King Dashrath, like that. So there was envy over there, right? And that envy was, of course, she suffered for envy, but then Krishna actually utilized that envy. Otherwise, she was such a nice devotee of the Lord. She loved Ram more than she loved her own son. And then this envy came, and because of that, we had the big pastime of Ramchandra going to the forest, killing Ravana, and all that kind of stuff. So, but that is part of Krishna's plan. If Krishna is using it, that's fine. We should not just think like it's okay. Krishna used it, so I will also use it. Envy. But other than that, pride, greed and all that, that can be used in Krishna's service. So everything has got a utility, and you have to just connect it to Krishna. Right? Everything that you have connected to Krishna, and then the results will be good. If you connect it to Maya, then the results are going to be disastrous.
So, Mataji, it is the soul which desires for the things, and then all the senses start working.
Yes, the soul desires. Soul desires. Period. The mind in itself cannot desire. The soul will direct.
Directly.
Like that. And then the thoughts will come.
Right.
Soul, yeah. So that's why we say purify the soul. Like that.
Mataji, this me wanting to eat sweets is my body or my soul wanting to eat sweets.
Soul wants to enjoy. Remember, Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, and we are parts and parcels of Krishna, so we are enjoyers. We want to enjoy that sweet taste. We want to enjoy the sweet taste. So the desire is there with the soul. And in order to fulfill that, the soul needs a body. So you see, this body is helpful for fulfilling my desires. So I had a desire to enjoy independently of Krishna. So Krishna has made this nice arrangement here, the material universe, and he's saying, okay, enjoy. Here you don't have to do anything, but then there are consequences of doing that, right? So in the Brahma, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, if you can bring that up, I think it is 2934, 34, yeah, 2934. Suresh Prabhu, if you can bring that up and share it with
Yes,
us.
Mataji. Yeah, give me a moment.
2934. So yeah, while Suresh Prabhu is bringing it up.
2934.
34, yeah. I'd also like to welcome others who have joined the call here. We have Manisha Satish Agarwal, very nice. Sadhana Ellen Mataji is watching us, fantastic. Shweta Sriranga, yeah. Shingarasa Mataji is also there. Bhakta Rohit and Ruchi Verma. Wow, fantastic. Kam Krodh Lobh, somebody listed that, yeah. Yeah. Achita Radhe listed that. Yes, Lobh is also there. Greed. Yeah, and thank you for joining the call and welcome. Yeah, so Rite ritham yat pratyeta na pratyetya chatmani tad vidyad atmano mayam yatha bhaso yatha tamaha. And let's see what is the meaning of that. Because this is from the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam, the 4 verses from Bhagavatam that contain everything else that is there in the Bhagavatam. Second canto, 9th chapter, verses 33, 34, 35, and 36. Like that. So this is the second one, and it says that, O Brahma, whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relation to me, has no reality. Right? So you see that there's always this fight going on between Mayavadis and the Bhaktas, that this material world they are saying is Jagan Mithya. It's all imagination. This is all imagination. And the Prabhupada says that no, it is not imagination. Krishna says there are Bhumi Apo Analo Vayu Khammano Buddhirevacha Ahankara Ityamme Bhinna Prakriti Ashtada. He says that in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So he's talking about his energies. They are his energies. How can we say that those energies don't exist, right? But he's talking here about the reality. So when he's saying that, real thing, give me the real thing. The real thing is that if you use material in the service of the Lord, if you use it in the service of Lord, then that's fine. If you don't use it, then it is just like a reflection, right? So we have to understand that thing, that this whole world is not a reflection. This whole world is not, mithya. It is not an imagination. The imagination comes from the part where I say, I am this body. That is the imagination. It doesn't mean that the body doesn't exist. The body does exist. Try to go walk through a wall and you will know that the body exists. It is there, right? Because you get hurt and you start feeling it like that. So yes, so we, material things can be utilized as long as they're utilized. So everything has a utility. That's what Krishna is saying, that everything has got a utility, but that the utility factor will only happen when you utilize it in the service of the Lord, like that.
Hare Krishna Mataji, can you kindly explain the translation? This once again, like you say, it says that whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relation to me, has no reality. Understood. Now it is it
Know it.
as
Know it.
yeah.
Know it.
Sorry. Yes. Know it as my illusionary energy, that reflection which appears to be in darkness. Mataji, I couldn't follow it. Mataji.
Yeah. So illusory energy. What is darkness? Darkness here means ignorance.
Ignorance, yes.
Right? So he's saying that when if you see something without relationship to Krishna, right? Without connecting it back to Krishna, then it is his Maya that is acting on you. Right? And what is that? It's saying it's the reflection that appears to be in darkness. It's not that there is darkness and some reflection is coming, and you might just think, how can you have reflection on a darkness? Because then where is the darkness like that? No, he's here the term darkness, it is referred to as ignorance, like that, right? So you're seeing things, from, because this material world is a reflection of the spiritual world, and not that the reflection is not real. Like in our lives, right? You go and look in the mirror, you see a reflection, but that reflection is not a real thing, right? That doesn't need, the reflection doesn't need food and social security and things like that. It's just a reflection, right? But here, so when they say the material world is a reflection of the spiritual soul, they don't mean that it doesn't exist. It's a reflection. Whatever is there in the spiritual world is also here. So if there are plants over there, you will find plants in the material world also. If there are flowers over there, you'll find flowers in the material world also. If there are human beings, animals, like that. So that way it is a reflection, but it is made up of a different substance. Here, everything is in the material world is made up of material things. Bhumi, Analo, Vayu, Kham, Mano, Buddhi, right? He lists that. So those are material energies. They are inferior energies. And then up in the spiritual sky, as you have earth also, you will have water there also, but it is made up of transcendental substance, right? Tattva is transcendental, like that. So here he's saying is that, when you are in the material world, if you don't connect anything to Krishna, then it has no reality, no value, no nothing, right? What's the big deal? You had 16 gulab jamuns, right? But if you didn't offer them to Krishna first, then there's no reality in that, in the sense that no good is going to come out of it. It's not that he's saying that those gulab jamuns that you ate independent of Krishna don't exist. It's not that. They do exist. They are there. But because you did not connect them to Krishna, so there is no value there, right? You have to connect things to Krishna. And you will notice that science cannot find value. Our scientific methods by which we gather information, right? For example, if I show you the Bhagavad Gita and I show you the Harry Potter movie, the book on Harry Potter, both of them might weigh the same, right? Both of them might have a hardbound cover. Both of them you open, they are all made up of white paper. And on that, something is written with a black ink. So from the scientific perspective, both are the same, right? Paper, white color, hardcover, ink, black. Here also the ink is black, so they are the same, right? But there is something above that assigns a value to it. Why is Bhagavad Gita more revered, and why is Bhagavad Gita said to be of more value? Because it is connected to Krishna. Harry Potter is not, right? So if you are saying that I'm reading Harry Potter and I spend my whole summer reading Harry Potter, what good came out of it? So there's no value there, right? There's no reality. Whatever you read is like a useless thing that you read, just some mental games you play. On the other hand, if you say I spent my summer vacations reading Bhagavad Gita, yeah, that is real, because you'll get some real knowledge. You'll be lifted out of the ignorance, right? And ignorance is, thinking. The biggest ignorance is that when I think I'm this body. And Bhagavad Gita helps you to bring it out. Right? That's what Krishna is doing in these verses. Constantly he's telling about the soul. The soul is immeasurable. The soul is not born. The soul cannot be killed. And in today's verse, what he's saying, that how can a person who is knowledgeable, like I have told you all these in the previous verses, now that you are a knowledgeable person, how can a knowledgeable person, say kill anyone? Because now you have got the knowledge, you are Veda, right? They use the word Veda in today's verse. So when you know that soul is different from the material, and it said a few verses ago, right? Ubhyorto tava. So both of them have the one who says both of them of the material there is no endurance, and of the spiritual there is no decay, like that. So once you've got this knowledge, when you have got this knowledge, then you see that soul is spirit. So how can you kill soul? And sometimes you might say that, I'm not able to kill the soul. One might think. And so Krishna is covering all ground. So he said that you might think that I'm not capable of killing, but maybe somebody else can, right? I don't know how to use a rifle, but I can give money to somebody to use a rifle to kill somebody, right? You can do that, although we don't have the capabilities. But then here in this verse, he's just saying that you cannot kill anybody or cause anybody to be killed. Cause anybody to kill. You can't make anybody else kill them. So that's what Krishna is also saying, that, Arjuna, even if I'm telling you to kill the enemies, you won't be able to kill the souls of your grandfather, Bhishma, or of, for that matter, anybody's soul. You cannot kill it, because soul is like that. So he's giving him real knowledge, right? Because as long as Arjuna was on the material plane, he was feeling so bad, right? His temperature went up. He had shivering in his body, almost like corona-like symptoms, right? But he's lost his identity. His Gandiva started slipping from his hand. So all those things started happening from what? Because he was connecting everything to material and God. He was not connecting them to Krishna, right? And then Krishna will explain to him in the other chapters that are coming in Bhagavad Gita. Mame vancho jivaloke. So even the Kauravas are parts and parcel of Krishna. Like that. It's not just the Pandavas are parts and parcel of Krishna. Everybody is there, a part and parcel of Krishna. Like that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, so we have a few more minutes. If there is a last thought or reflection, I will take it. And Ruchi Verma here says that when you seek, whom you seek is seeking you. Okay. And Namazya Mataji, welcome here to the call. Yeah. Yeah. Lust, anger, greed, envy, illusion, pride. Yeah. Vidyavadhu has it nailed down.
Mataji, the soul is female. So is there any logic or any science, or why do we call soul is female? It is just like that, or is there any logic?
Yeah. So you have to understand that the concept of female and the term female, Purusha and Prakriti. So Purusha is the enjoyer and Prakriti is the enjoyed. Right? For example, if you are sitting there with a gulab jamun, you are enjoying it. And gulab jamun is the enjoyed. The gulab jamun will not know what you are enjoying. Right? So enjoyed does not know the bliss or the joy of enjoyment. The enjoyer knows it, right? So in this whole world, in this entire creation, spiritual as well as material, Krishna is the only enjoyer. Krishna is the only enjoyer per se, like that. And all others are enjoyed by him. All others, jiva souls, are enjoyed by Krishna in whatever body that they have, right? So going back to that, the male enjoys and the female is enjoyed. That is why souls are said to be female, right? Now we understand male and female from bodily conception, right? The anatomy is different for a male and for a female. But here, when you say the soul is a female, it doesn't mean that she's shaped like a woman, right? It just means that she's the enjoyed, that Krishna will enjoy. And as long as we understand that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, then our life will be in order. If I think that I am the enjoyer, then, you will have trouble, right? It is almost like, a woman puts on man's trousers and coat and thinks that I'm a man and I'm going to enjoy. It's the same thing that, we put on these various material coverings on us and we think we're going to enjoy, but you cannot enjoy independent of Krishna. The best way for us to ever enjoy is the way we are wired. The only way that we can get enjoyment is by serving Krishna, by first letting him enjoy it. And we get our satisfaction from doing that. There.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
You're welcome. Because a soul can have a spiritual body in Golok Vrindavan. A soul can be a stone. And when you look at a stone, you can't figure it out whether it's male or female, right? So that bodily concept is not there when we talk about souls being female. It's that they are they're meant to be enjoyed by Krishna. Okay, so we are close to our time here. Should we call it a day today? We had a really long, good discussion, non-stop. Okay. All right, so unmute yourself and give me a Hari Bol here.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Okay, those of you who have,
Krishna.
right.
Hare Krishna. Done, Pranam Mataji. Thank you so much.
And thank you for those of you who have joined us on Facebook. Thank you for those of you who have joined us here. Keep Krishna in your mind. Have a fantastic, fantastic day. Hare Krishna.